Hello, and welcome to the Coaxum Report. This is Terry Coaxum. I am your host, and I am truly excited to be joined today by Jalila Frazier Mathematics. I'm super excited to talk to you a little bit today about Jalila Frazier and what she's doing. I want to talk to you about some of her barriers, her best practices, and big ideas, and most importantly, how she's making math super fun. Jalila Frazier, how are you? Hello. I think we're having a few technical issues. Jalila, how are you? Hi, Jalila, how are you?
Hi. Nice.
Nice to see you. It seems like we're having a few technical issues today trying to get you live here. But I am super excited about the show that we have planned and all that you're doing in that space, especially with making math fun and super fun for our young people. I think it's so important to build the foundation, and I think when you build the foundation really young with young people, then as they get older, they have a love for math that is just super amazing. I remember my young daughter when she first discovered math, and she realized that she was having a bit of a challenge with it, Jalila. And what she started doing, she asked her teacher to give her after school, to give her math after school. So she started a math club in like second, third grade. So it's super exciting that you're making math fun. So talk to us. Talk to us. First of all, talk to us about Fraser Mathematics. What made you start this? How's it going? Like, how do we encourage and inspire young people to get that foundation? Talk to us.
Absolutely. Can I just want to make sure you can hear me well? Okay, perfect. So hi, thank you for having me, Dr. Coaxum. Like I'm so excited. And thank you for allowing me to be able to share my story, my journey, and why I'm so passionate about making sure that mathematics is accessible to students, especially students that look like me, especially female students, especially students that we label at risk, right? Those things are very, very true and dear to my heart, and just being able to have this conversation allows me to have a larger impact for those students. So once again, thank you. Um, so yeah, like math is big for me. Math is
About your
big.
background. Tell us, like, how'd you
Uh,
start this? Like, I
okay.
look at Fraser Mathematics. It's super fun. The graphics is dope. I'm like, wait, how did this come about? I mean, I was excited. I was like, I can't wait to kind of ask
Yeah.
you these questions because math is truly the foundation. You know, we have reading, we have writing, we have math, we have
Yeah.
science. But getting this foundation at a very young age, I find that our young people are on fire for it. Once you love it, you love it. So tell me
Yes.
how you got here.
I was a district math supervisor for about 8 years in a school district, and I was responsible for ensuring that teacher capacity was built, making sure that they know or have all the tools that they need to support students. And I realized that although I was in that role, I really missed direct contact with students. Like I was a high school math and physics teacher, and I just loved working with students. But when I became a supervisor, my touch points was really for adults. So I decided to create a company, and I did a STEAM summer program one year, and I said I want to be with kids, and I designed a STEAM summer program in the year of 2018, and I just called it Frazier's Math Solutions, and let's do a STEAM program. Didn't realize that that literal moment was the moment that I said I see that I can do this for long term. And we pulled out all the stops with the STEAM summer program. And it was important for us so that students can see themselves in the adult learners that we provided them with. So we made sure that we connected with different industries for them to come in and talk to our students. But also, we took students out of the state. We took them to museums, Mo Math, that's in New York, a big math museum. We took them to maker spaces at NY sorry, New York Institute. We took them to NJIT, and we also made sure that arts was incorporated with it. So they designed their own graphic T-shirts. They made 3D printed prosthetic hands, and created a competition to see who can design the most aesthetically pleasing prosthetic hand, as well as the most functional. And I really wanted students to know that these things were accessible to them, and the STEAM program was like that first step to it.
I think
Um,
this is super exciting to me. Like as you're speaking, first of all, I see the passion in your face. So I like seeing it in your face. I hear it in your voice. This is like super amazing to me, right?
yeah.
But more importantly, like I remember when my youngest daughter was struggling with math, and so she decided she was going to go ask her teacher to give her extra help, and
Mhm.
so she started a math program. And it
Mhm.
was after school math, and then she started with all these different T's. And before you know it, they booted her out because they were like, "We need to work with the students that already, that need help." That she was
Right.
like, "Really? I started this, right?" So
Right.
that was number one. But so what I had to do, I had to get her to love math again, and I
Yeah.
found a robotics program, and it was with the YMCA.
Nice.
It was a robotics camp in Albany, New York,
Right.
and I was so surprised. They were like building robots that would swim just by
That's
changing
what
the
I'm talking
mathematic
about.
equations. Like
Yes.
it was
Yes.
just so amazing to me. And to this day, she has a special love for math
I
because I
love
took it
that.
upon myself to find that. But you're doing it every single day. That's why like I'm
Yeah.
so excited about it. I'm like, yes,
Yes. It's
I
exciting.
gotta get some of your books for my 5-year-old because
Yeah. Yeah.
she's ready.
Yes, yes, we are absolutely in that space. And you said the book, so I think probably that's the proudest thing that I'm so happy about, that we were able to design and create something that could stand the
Graphics is
test of
dope.
time for students. Yeah. So I Dope Math Notebook. I'm actually right now at a conference debuting our full portfolio for the first time of Dope
Nice,
Math Notebook. So you might see behind me
nice.
some weird backgrounds, but it's because they try to make cool things. But we have a portfolio of notebooks from grades 3 all the way to algebra
Nice.
1,
Okay.
and we really wanted to focus on that grade band because that grade band is the most at risk grade band when it comes to students saying they hate math. They
Really?
usually, yep, in third grade, they're like, yeah, I like math. Fourth grade, okay, I can do it. But when they hit fractions in fifth grade, and then taking them through all the other like negative, positive numbers, and then
Right,
when algebra starts, we all say algebra 1 is a gateway to higher level math, but it's actually sometimes for our students it's a deterrent because
right,
they don't like
right.
algebra 1, or they don't do well in algebra 1, and for some reason we're trying to uncover why. So our goal was to focus on that grade band so that we can really like keep them curious, keep them engaged, keep them like satisfied, and we wanted yummy math around them. So when you pick up one of our Dope Math notebooks, literally it's dope. From the sleek design, we wrote all of those symbols for students. Like you'll see our handwriting signature in there. Every notebook has cool math facts to keep them curious. It has illuminating math tips so that students can know how to work a problem out in a larger, big idea. And there's a grade appropriate reference sheet all the way in the back, aligned to every grade level, all the formulas they're going to need, the reference, the conversions. And then it's important for us to make sure that, all students feel seen. So our notebooks are translated in Spanish. So you have the English side, the Spanish side, and our future notebooks will be Haitian Creole translated as well. And there's line paper and graph paper in that notebook. So we pulled out all the stops. It is not a curriculum. It is a notebook on steroids for students, and you will be able to find them in so many different retail stores. But we do a lot of big shipments to school districts because we want schools to purchase these notebooks and provide them as gifts for students. Here, take this, use this. We love you. We care about you. We care about your math mindset, and this is something that we did to support you in our math culture in the school.
Wow, that's what's up. Now, in addition to the notebooks, do you have any kind of videos or anything else that you share? Because what I realized, especially at my 5-year-old's age, is that everything is about a song. Everything is about music. So it's really creating a foundation for him, right? So my oldest children are 27 and 33. And I remember sitting down with them, making everything fun. I remember this group of reading material. It's still in my head. You can read. You can read. Yes, I can't even find it anymore. But I remember that being the song that both of my children learned to read from. They used the phonics on that, and they learned to read. And so I know that this works. I'm super excited about what you have to offer. I'm glad that it's a notebook that they can do everything in. It's not
Yeah.
just the math. They can do math and English and science. They
Yes.
can even make it their own, and it can be their slam book, and they can write
Right.
down whatever thought comes to mind, right? Or some
Absolutely.
creativity, right? Whatever they need to use it for. But in addition to that, I mean, it is dope. It's a lot of great problems there. Is there a way for them to get some more of the foundation? Because I realize, every first of all, not all math teachers are created equal. Let's
Right.
just start with
Right.
that.
Right. Right. Not
And
everyone is
our
like my favorite
children,
math teacher, Miss Stanley. But
oh,
go ahead.
see, absolutely. So I'm always looking to refer, especially students and parents and young people, to programs that actually stimulate their mind, make them feel important. They can see themselves, like they can see themselves in your notebooks. Like they can open them and be like, "Oh, that looks, that
Yeah.
looks like me. That's
Yep.
me,
Yep.
right?"
Yes.
So, what are some of the things that you have available that we can offer that to them? And I know I rushed ahead because now I got to
No,
jump
fine.
back in a few minutes to barriers, right? Because one of the biggest things that I like to talk about on the show, Dalila, I like to start with barriers, right? I want to know how, you got into the space that you're in. What were some of the barriers? Because folks listen to us internationally, right? So they're listening to us
Okay.
in Caribbean, they're listening to us in Africa, they're listening to us all over, right, in the continent.
Hey
So I
y'all.
want that, all right. So I want them to kind of understand that they can do what you do. Yes, there were some barriers to access, but you came over that hurdle and now you're
Yeah.
on the other side of it. Here are some, best practices. Here are some big ideas, and more
Absolutely.
importantly, we end with solutions. So I jumped in because of the whole math situation. Plus, you were having technical difficulties.
Right.
I'm
Right.
like, we got to talk about
Right. Thank you. I know.
math.
I have to switch to
Math,
my
math.
phone, but I'm here.
Right. So talk to me about where they can get this more material, more fundamental material, and then we're going to go
Right.
back to some of the barriers. Like, what were
Okay.
some of the barriers to you getting to where you are?
So I'm just happy to say, like, we're always in growth stage. We're always in trying to making sure that we have like the next thing to, create that bubble around students. So at the very core, we don't have like math videos. And we haven't decided if we're going to add that to our portfolio. But what we do have is a show on YouTube, and it's for our dope math notebooks,
Yeah.
and it's called Frasier's or Frank's, and
Okay.
it's with um, my colleague. She was my director of curriculum and training, and she helped very much design the notebooks with us. And what we do is we go on there and we solve problems. We introduce a
Right.
problem, and I'll solve it one way, she'll solve it another way. And we ask the audience, well, which would you rather? Like, which method would you choose to solve this problem? And what we try to do is show students that while math may seem like there's one answer, great, but there's not one solution. You can always find a different solution to a problem and
That's
arrive at
right.
the same answer, but how you take it should be celebrated. How you solve that problem should be celebrated because your mind is different from someone else's. So we
I'm glad.
intentionally,
I'm glad to hear that because I do remember
yeah,
helping my grandson with his math, and he goes, "My teacher didn't teach me how to do it that way."
right.
I'm like,
And
"Well,
that
you got
always
the right
happens.
answer, but my teacher didn't teach me how."
It's so true. That always happens. Like my nephew does it too many times. The teacher didn't say that, and I'm like, I know that's so cool. Let me show you another way, so you can pick which way you
Exactly.
like. Like that's important. Which way do you like? And then hey, let
Right.
me show you. Maybe this one is more efficient, and you just didn't know this way. So
Right.
that's what
Well,
we
hopefully,
that's what we
hopefully we got
champion.
some educators, some math educators that are listening to us and
I hope so.
understanding that core curriculum, there are different ways to get to that answer. Because when I was in school, we did it this way, and now they have a whole other way to do it. And I'm like, okay, but we're gonna get to the same answer. But my grandson did not let
Right.
me get past that. He's like,
They
listen,
won't.
listen, this is how my teach. That's not, but look at the answer. The answer's the same. That's okay. But
Right.
she didn't teach you how to do it that way. So that's a lot of fun. I'm glad that you're doing that. I'm gonna turn the YouTube channel on intentionally
Yeah.
so that he can see.
Yeah. Yeah. It's called Dope Math Battles on
Yeah,
YouTube.
I'm definitely
So it's
gonna
the
send
Dope
it to
Math
us so he can
Battles. Yeah.
understand that. That is hilarious. So now, what are some of the barriers? Like, I understand, being a small business owner myself, doing business development. Um, there's always challenges. Mostly when I talk to my entrepreneurs and my small business owners, they say it's access to capital. It's always
Ooh,
kind of access to capital in more ways than one, right? Whether it's access to capital as far as starting with capital, or it's access to capital once you get a contract, you need to have the operational costs to put everything together, and that access is somewhat of a barrier. So talk to me, because you're
yeah.
expanding, you're growing.
Yeah.
What seems to be the barrier that kind of stumped you a little bit? I mean, it didn't stop you, which is why we
Right.
talk about it,
Right.
so that we can give everyone an opportunity to kind of tap into some of these synergies.
Absolutely. So I'm gonna say two things that were and still is a barrier, but just trying to maneuver it differently and learn from it. Absolutely, access to capital is one, and then the other one is kind of because my background is not in business.
Mhm,
There are gaps in my business acumen that I don't know that I have. And so
mhm.
just the knowledge base of knowing what's next or a smarter solution had I gone to school for that in that industry. So I'll start back with the access to capital. It is very much an issue, a struggle, a barrier that I still have to deal with. Um, while my business is growing and my revenue looks so much different from last year,
Right.
banks don't really just consider your growth within that year. They look at last year's, earnings and provide you with, resources based off of that.
Based off
So,
of that, right.
although my growth is like 500% in one year, they're not considering where I am year to date.
Right.
And
Well,
because of that,
let me pause
mm,
there for you, and just by way of background. So, Kels and I, we met through Kelly. Kelly and I used to work at Small Business Administration together.
yeah,
She was under President Obama, so she was the regional administrator, and I was the regional advocate, and so
okay,
advocating for small business. And just so you know, there are other and I love to share this. That's why I always ask about variants. There's so many other resources that are available to small businesses that they may not be aware of. For instance, there's CDFIs, there are credit
yep,
unions, Lindustry, True Fund, LISC, local initiatives. These are all revenue sources. Even your city and your state, like they have a small business program, because they now realize when you are a certified NWBE,
yep,
the difference between your success and someone else's success is usually that access to capital, that
yeah,
operation money, right? And so they have contract funding, especially here in New York City. So the mayor of the city of New York here is Eric Adams, realizing that you may be able to get the contract, but can you operate the contract? Can you execute the contract? And
yeah,
how do you execute the contract? So say you were able to get a contract with the Department of Education,
hmm,
and that contract required you to build out a platform online in both English and Spanish. And
yep,
so you now have to go hire someone to do that.
correct,
How do you do that before you get paid? And that contract
exactly,
funding is
exactly,
available, right? So I want to
yep,
tell you about that. SBA also has the Small Business Service Center, the SBDCs, the Small Business Development Centers, that can actually bridge that gap for your business acumen, right? So
okay,
there are free services, free trainings available through the federal government, through SBA. There's training available in your city and in your state. And so you're already paying your taxpayer dollars. So you're
right,
actually paying for this service. So I'm encouraging you to just, do a little quick Google search and see what's out there, because you don't
right,
have to start over. You can literally start from where you are, gain the knowledge information you need for that period, and be able to
absolutely,
hire people for what you don't know how to do. And don't be
right,
afraid to hire. And don't be
right,
afraid to let go either.
the black,
You need the right person and the right seat
yes,
to do
yes,
the right job. Don't
yes,
send somebody there just because Kool-Aid in them said you need to
Right.
hire
Exactly.
you
No,
need to make
it
sure that they're working with your business for your business and you're
absolutely.
growing together. You need people in your space that are actually going to complement your mission and your vision. Because at the end of the day, when they see Fraser Mathematics, they're thinking about you. We want to
Right.
make sure that that is a positive experience and a positive journey all the time.
Absolutely. Yeah, thank you for that and giving me that information. Definitely familiar with a lot of the resources that you mentioned. The CDFI. I'm actually really excited that we just got approved for CDFI
Yay!
think 2 weeks ago with
Yes.
the Greater Newark GNEC. And so
Yes.
we're approved for $20,000 in a cash
Yes. That's what's
injection.
up.
Yeah, and it came at the right time because, like I told you, we have a whole portfolio of new notebooks, and inventory is big for us
Yeah.
to be able to, provide those notebooks. So that was a big help. But not but in addition to those lending services, just I would give my big advice is our small businesses have to have our paperwork in order. um, you have to have an accountant, you need to have a bookkeeper, you need to have all of your articles of incorporation, your certificates in one place. Get that MBE certification, get those things that kind of put you at the top of the list. And the things that you are afraid of is where you're going to have that bottleneck in your business. While yes, my major is mathematics, I was very afraid of looking into the finance part of my business because I didn't really know how to handle it properly. And it wasn't until I really started focusing on like the finance and the budget and being very intentional about how we spend money was the only way I could control it. Cash flow is or was a major issue for my business because most of my contracts are school and municipal contracts, and they we have to render services and then submit an invoice and wait
To get
about 30
paid.
to 60 days to
Exactly.
get
We're going to talk
paid.
a little bit more about that. Let's take a quick break. We got to take a quick
Okay.
commercial break and come back. But we're definitely going to talk about that because
Okay.
that is a barrier too. Let's talk right back.
Yes. All right.
Time. It has a different meaning in the U.S. Virgin Islands. It goes backwards, forwards, it stops. St. Croix is rooted in history. So much of it still remains untouched.
I remember running on these streets as a kid. This shop was right down there. It opened the same year I was born. This is where the original Crucian hook was born. It's the symbol of these islands. And I wanted to have my hands in that very same history. I want to be able to pass it down to my family while still putting a new spin on it.
The U.S. Virgin Islands, we have an amazing culture that developed over time from all over the world.
St. John feels so untouched. Being underwater is like another world. There's no worries, there's no stress. I can just escape. This is my happy place. My passion for scuba diving came at just being fascinated with the water and wanting to be a mermaid. And this is the closest thing I can get to achieving mermaid status. Canadians just love being outdoorsy. We live for adventure, so we love anything hiking, being on the water, diving, snorkeling, and St. John has it all.
It's like some spirit is protecting the island and keeping them raw. The Makujumbi watches over the island. From up there, They keep the evil spirits away. The nightlife in St. Thomas is absolutely amazing. There's always something going on. Everyone comes together to dance and catch a vibe. We're always celebrating. We celebrate freedom, culture, the food, the smell, the music. It's always a celebration. The people here are probably the most priceless thing because they keep the culture going. There's so many different influences on these islands. Food from all kind of countries coming together in new dishes.
I used to watch BET, MTV, VH1, now I watch Tempo. Soca, Calypso, Reggae Dancehall. Don't stall, better get tuned in to the tempo. Don't have cable, they got an app. Go to your app store, download that. Whether it's tourism, cuisine, or the social scenes, if it ain't Tempo, it's a rap. Who got the Caribbean views? Tempo. It's the latest in Caribbean news. Tempo. You tryna cook Caribbean food? Tempo. You know they got the music videos too. Tempo. Who got the Caribbean views? Tempo. It's the latest in Caribbean news. Tempo. You tryna cook Caribbean food? Tempo. You know they got the music videos too. Tempo.
Welcome back to the Coaxum Report. For those of you that is tuning in to us, you can listen to us on Roku, on Amazon Fire. You can also listen to us simultaneously on WSCX Bloomberg. I am super excited to be joined by Jalailah Frazier with Frazier Mathematics, having an amazing talk about opportunities. We started talking about some areas, and we're talking about some contracts. And first of all, congratulations! You know, being in WBE, being able to go after those contracts. And I encourage my minority business, please get certified. Be ready, so you don't have to get ready. You know, so when these contract opportunities are available, you can go and you can apply for these contracts and be able to do work and do business in the government. It's $1 billion spin. It could be $1 billion lie if you're not in it. So I need you to be a part of it. So talk to us a little bit. You're talking about the contract funding opportunities and some of the barriers to that. As far as you got the contract now, you need to do this. You got to put in your invoice and get paid, but you need to do this first. So what does that look like?
Yes. Listen, I really understand Rihanna's song now. Blank better have my money. Like, I understand it now, because before I'm like, what is she talking about? But when you do a good job and you do well and you make sure you provide high quality services, and then the back end accounts receivable is where that piece kind of, like, if you don't have proper systems in place, you will really feel the burn when it comes to collecting on those invoices.
And I want you to pause there because that is so important. I need you to say that one more time, and then I'm going to break it because I'm serious. It's so important to have your paperwork in order. What do you need to have in order to be able to comply and make sure you're getting your money?
Yes, you need all of that. You need your certificate, like just from the onboarding, you need to make sure that you're able to sign those purchase orders, turn them back around quite quickly. And then once you render services, hopefully you have some type of CRM where you can, immediately bill them with an invoice. Obviously, we know school districts as well as municipalities work on, the check system. So you actually have to get it board approved to be paid. And those board meetings don't happen like once per month. And if you miss like the cutoff, you have to wait until the next board meeting. And, all of those things are at play. So a system in place to ensure that you're communicating regularly with their business office and that you're on that bill list because you want to get paid as soon as you can so that you can pay your staff. Like that's the big piece.
And then
You
if
don't
you
want your
don't pay
staff
your staff, there's the other
they're
barriers.
leaving.
Department of
Exactly.
Labor, taxes,
Okay.
there is all
Okay.
these other things. So in addition to what Jalila is saying, what I'm encouraging you to do, and she said this in the first portion, make sure you have a tax preparer, someone that is doing your bookkeeping. Make sure you have a payroll service if that's not your thing. Not everything is for everybody, but
Right.
payroll services are so much more inexpensive now than they used to be, and they're keeping up with
Right.
all of the compliance rules and regulations. And make sure
Yep.
you have the disability insurance. You have employees, you need disability insurance. You need workers'
Disability
comp. You
insurance.
need
You will get
insurance and
fined.
liability insurance.
All of
Like
that.
these are
Yes.
all things that we need to have in place. And I'm glad that Jalila is bringing it up, because when we get in business, we are in business to make money. We
Money
don't want
at
to
the end
pay
of the day.
fines. We don't want to pay fines.
You
We
don't
want
want
to
to pay
make money. And so we have a checklist of all of these things that we need to be doing. And Jalila, full disclosure, I'm a consultant and I do business development. So I literally walk
fines.
my clients through all of these things that they need to have in place. Who sometimes they just forget, because you a baker don't mean that you should own a bakery. Because you like to bake cookies don't mean you should own a bakery.
Yep.
Just
Yep.
because you like to make furniture don't mean you should have a furniture store.
Yes.
But if you do
Exactly.
decide to own a bakery and have a furniture store, there's some compliance rules and regulations that you must follow, or like Jaletta said, you will be fined. And
Yep.
nobody wants to be
No
fined. It's
one. And
having
I've
your
been
paperwork in
fined.
order. Yeah,
I've been
we've
fined.
all, and I've tried to avoid it on every level, but it happens. And so I want to make sure that you're taking it and taking heed to what Jalila is saying, because it's so important to make sure that you have all of your paperwork in order,
Yes.
whether you're going after a contract or not. So I don't
Or
want
not.
people to feel like, well, I'm not going after a contract. I don't need to have those things. You do need to have
You
those
do.
things,
You
and we
do.
don't want you to be hit with fines. If you have to
Exactly.
go after some kind of funding, there's a lot more grants available now for profit business than ever before. Like COVID, like
Yeah.
kind of put a black eye
Black
on some
owned with businesses,
industries,
women. Yes.
right? That was not giving money, and now they're more willing to give money. And so what we're saying is they're going to want to know where that money is. They're going to want to know, where'd you spend it, right? Did you spend the money on what you're supposed to spend the money on? We'll give you the grant, but then there's that compliance, and
Compliance,
make sure
reporting.
you have
Yep.
all that reporting and stuff in place. And so, this is key information to success. And so
Yep.
I'm glad you're giving those nuggets to us, because again, some people believe, oh, I just got the grant money, I could do whatever. You can't.
Do it. No. Right. Make sure you have a different bank account. Do not commingle those
Exactly.
funds.
That's right.
Even if you like get a different bank account, like at the very basic minimum, those are the things that are important because even if you are out of compliance for a few years and then you decide, okay, it's time for me to get into compliance, the state will
Mhm.
go back and figure out, well, you've been in business for since 2017.
Right.
You just started reporting where the wages for the other like 2 years, right? And they will backdate it, and then they will find you and
Yeah.
you'll get charged interest. I know this because it happened to me. So I definitely want to be able to, double down on that. Whatever you can to get into compliance, seek, that professional help, like Terry said, and find out what those checklist items, those non-negotiables
Right.
that you need to have
Right.
in order for your business to be in compliance, so that you don't have to lose money but continue to make money.
Absolutely. And so I'm glad that you shared that with us, right? So now those were some of the barriers that you faced. But you know what? This is a show about best practices, big ideas, and
Yes.
solutions, right? I want to make sure that when we are signing off, that we're giving the nuggets and the information and strategies that
Yes.
small business can use to take their business to the next level. And so
Yes.
you've been able to be really successful. I mean, right now, just being in the space that you're in now and being able to share this information is a gem, right? It's so
Yes.
important for us to be able to pour into others what's been poured into us, so that we can continue to grow and we don't have to experience the same hiccups. So what are some of the
Absolutely.
best practices and big ideas that you've been able to utilize to help you be successful?
Absolutely. So for me, number one, confidence goes a long way. Confidence matched with, the passion that you have for your business. If you're not passionate about your business, no one else will, and you won't be able to find your tribe. So those in your tribe are the people that will, speak for you when you're not in the room. Those advocates, the people that will always want to refer you to a different network or someone that they believe will use your services. Like, you have to be confident and passionate, because no one will do that for you if they don't believe that you believe in your business as well as yourself. So always lead with that. The other thing is making sure that you build relationships. So relationship building lasts a long time, whether it's a relationship that you build when you're just starting out, and maybe you're not able to receive help from that person at that time, or maybe you're not able to give help. Always keep a pulse on the people that you build with, so that in the future you're able to circle back and be able to see how you all can do business together, or help refer someone, or someone help refer you. So
And
relationship building.
that's a golden rule.
Yeah.
So many times, because it's so loud, there's so many things going on. We're focusing on so many things at the same time that we forget to pause and enjoy the journey. And so,
Mm-hmm.
Joy, I'm not sure if you know, but my business is Coaxum Connect, connecting you because relationships matter.
Me too.
And the reason the relationships matter is just what you said. There's so many things that I'm not going to ever know and may not ever touch. But I can reach out to Jaleel or Kels. I reached out to Kels,
Right.
like Holistic Kels,
Right.
and Kels introduced us. I mean, those relationships need to be nurtured.
Yes.
They can't always be what's in it for you. You
Exactly.
have to reach out to other people and pour into them. And I'm telling you, the universe will open up in ways that you can
Always.
never imagine.
Always.
And so I'm glad you talked about relationships, because they matter. Relationships matter no matter what you're doing, no matter where you
Yep.
at. And especially the strongest people in your tribe, your words, not mine. Those are the people that you should check in often. Because
Yeah.
we're so strong, folks don't usually check in. Oh, they're fine.
Yes.
And then
Yes.
when you find out they're not fine,
They're
they're in
not.
a
Yeah.
different space, right? So
Yeah.
nurturing those relationships. When cards were popular, I would turn the card over and put the person's where I met them,
Mhm.
and then I would reach out to them in 30 days or 2 weeks.
Okay.
Hey, I met you at so and so. Folks were always surprised. Like right now, I know so many people. They're like, I know Terry, because that is my job. I make it my business to know people, and I tell my students, if you go to an event and you didn't meet five
Right.
people, why did you leave your house?
Why'd you
You could
go?
have just sat on the
Yeah.
couch and had some popcorn. Like, you didn't need to leave your house.
That's so
And I
true.
charge them with that. If I pour into you, you have to pour into five other people.
Yeah.
If I give to you, you have to give to five other people.
Yeah.
Because that's how we create those lasting relationships
Lasting
that you
relationships.
can
Yeah.
dig the well before you're thirsty. So if you need to reach out to someone at 3 a.m., they're not gonna be like, I haven't heard from you in a
And
year.
right ages.
You
Right.
need to
Right.
make payroll, or you better
Right.
go kick rocks. I don't know.
And I definitely, this year I challenged myself to be better with that, because I was just so like focused, tunnel
Yeah,
vision with
I told
growing
you.
this
The
business,
noise,
and you
loud.
forget to look up.
Mhm.
And almost every contract that I've ever received is because someone referred me.
That's
Someone that
right.
I know believed in my services, believed in who
That's
I
right.
am, and said, I need you to talk to this person. Like, even now at this conference, the majority of people that I met was because I knew someone and they said, please go to her booth. I need you to go meet her, right? I didn't ask them to do that. They did that because they believe in me. And so for me, what can I do for them? Like, I want them to know this is a reciprocal relationship. This isn't just something that, I need. I want to be able to support them in any avenue that they want. So I'm working better on that, and I'm making that something very intentional that I do. And I want to
And that
model
makes the
that for my,
difference. That makes
yeah,
the difference. I know I used to be the deputy state director for U.S. Senator Chuck Schumer, first African American woman to hold the
nice.
job, right? The thing that I love about Chuck is that he always checks in. He often checks in with the elected leaders. He often checks in with the organization. He checks in. Like,
Hmm.
and he doesn't have to. He's a freaking U.S.
Right,
senator. But he
right.
checks in. And if he can check in, and he
Then we
covers
can.
62 counties, and now he's the leader, listen, I need to check in. I
Okay.
need to check in. I need people, and I do. And people say, oh, yeah, Terry always wishes you a happy birthday or checks in on your mom or whatever it is, because I read this book one day, and I always encourage my students. I teach at Medgar Evers College. I ask
Okay.
them to read this book. It's called "Dig the Well You Before You're Thirsty" by Harvey McKay. And I
Okay.
tell you, it's
I
a
love this
jewel.
thing.
There's three books I always give: "Dig the Well Before You're Thirsty," "How to Win Friends and Influence People," and "Getting to
Okay.
Love." And every student comes back to me and say, Professor, this book was so, it was imperative. Whatever you're doing, it doesn't matter what industry you're in. It
Yeah.
makes you pay attention to the entire person, not just
Yeah.
the layers on the outside. And what you realize is most of us, and I tell people this all the time, it's enough for all of us, Jalila. We all can get a piece of this pie.
Yes, it
Because the
is.
truth is, you and I can walk into a shoe store, and you know how women love shoes.
Right.
I promise you, we will not pick the same shoe.
Right.
And if we're not picking the same shoe, we're not going to be doing the same thing, even if we are in the same industry. We
Industry,
bring
yeah.
different, a different background, a different experience, a different level to it. And so we
Exactly.
all have, it's enough for all of us. And
Yes.
so that's really, really important in nurturing those relationships. I'm telling everybody, I'm like, what are you doing? Pouring into everybody I come in contact with.
I love that. I
Everybody
love
can get some.
that.
Everybody. So now we got these barriers. We talked about some of the best practices: nurturing, being confident, really paying attention to your tribe. Connections matter, relationships matter. So we're coming to the very end, and this is so fast, right? But talk about some solutions. What are some key solutions to your industry, to what you're doing? I know the graphics is dope. Like, how do you tap into that creativity to be able to bring your vision to life, right? I
Yeah.
mean, a lot of it is your tribe, right? A lot of
Hmm.
it is your own mind and your tribe, and you see a vision, and when they put it on paper, you're like, that's it, right?
This is it. Yeah.
But what are some of those things for you that kind of really made
Yeah.
a light bulb go off?
So, for me, it's to like. So I think about who am I trying to serve, and
Mm,
once I figure out who I'm trying to serve, then I figure out where the gaps are in
mm,
the places that normally they're not served well, and I create a
right,
solution within that gap. So
that's
take professional development for example. If
mhm.
you're familiar at all with the educational industry, textbook
No,
companies.
I just teach at Medgar Evers College. I'm not familiar. I'm just
Okay. Got it. Right, right. But like in public schools, right? We or they, because now I'm on the other side, they reach out to consultants to come in and provide professional development to their
PD, right?
stakeholders.
I do
Right.
PD. Mhm.
It's $1 million business, right? So I was on one side approving contracts, $100,000 here, 3-year contracts, right? For people to come in and provide PD to my teachers. But the teachers that they're providing PD for are students that look like me. And the consultants had no relevance and understanding of who our students are, the demographic. So the information that they were giving our teachers wasn't really relevant and didn't really support and help our final client, which is the student, right?
Right.
And so what I've realized is if I understand wholly who our client is, that's the student, then designing experiences for the stakeholders that support those students is where I find that solution. So,
Wow, that's what's up. I mean, that right there is a mouthful.
yeah, it is.
Understanding the end result, the end client,
Yep, they're the end
understanding
user.
the end user,
They're the
understanding what the process is. So you already understand it from both sides because you're coming
mhm.
with that knowledge, skills, and ability, right? And then being able to take that and put it into a solution for
Yep,
the end user.
yep,
That's powerful.
yep,
That
yep.
is super, super powerful. Oh my God. I'm so amazed. We definitely gonna have you come back. I
Yes,
like to do networking events, and so I'm definitely gonna invite you to a networking event so you can come and share what you're doing with others. I just
I
did
would
it.
love to.
I had 14 students at the Brooklyn Chamber of Commerce. I taught them. It was the
Nice.
Brooklyn Entrepreneurship Academy. They're doing some amazing things. I want to highlight them. I want you to meet them. I think it'd be
Yay! Let's
great if
do
you could
it.
share some solutions with them. And this is going to be a powerful relationship
Yes.
because I always say, I have an idea about who I want to have a relationship, and then the creator has a whole nother idea. But when
Right.
I meet great people doing good things the way that you are, I want to make sure that I'm pouring into you and sharing with you and sharing with others what you're doing. So I want to
Absolutely.
thank you so much for being a
Thank
part of
you.
the
Anything I
Coaxum
can
report.
do.
Oh, absolutely. I'm reaching out
Yes.
because I got to get that 5-year old. to love
Listen,
math.
I'll send you a notebook. Don't worry. I'll make sure I
I
get your
gotta get him to
address.
love
We'll get
math.
it.
I'm going, and the 13-year-old, I'm going straight to the video because he gonna understand that that's more than one way to do that problem. It ain't just
Absolutely.
record. I got some more stuff for you.
I love it.
Thank you so much for being a
Thank
part of the
you.
Coaxum Report, and I look forward to just being in touch. Take care
This
and
has
be
been
blessed.
great. Take care.
All
Bye.
right, take care.